Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is going to be a lot of fun. I have always had a fascination with Heritage USA. I had actually had the pleasure of visiting that theme park back in the 80s when it was open on 3 different occasions. We were not mainstayers there. We did not go very often, but we went 2 times during Christmas because the lights were so beautiful. And in between those 2 Christmas visits, I talked my dad in one time to take me down there and let me swim in that awesome water theme park area. It's like a little island. I'll show you today when we get there. A lot's changed over the years. I have made 2 other videos about Heritage in the past, about the history and things like that. I'm not going to do like a huge deep dive into the history of it. I just want to take you guys with me today and just show you kind of some things that are still left from that time period that are still there. Maybe the names have been changed, maybe they've been painted different colors, but all in all, I think the history to Heritage USA is pretty awesome, because Jim Bakker had actually went on record saying that he wanted to build a very Disney World, Disneyland-esque type of a theme park for Christians. And you know what? Jim Bakker was obviously a dreamer, because he did just that. In the time, at the highest point before the scandal happened, the Jim Bakker scandal happened with Jessica Hahn and all that kind of stuff, they were the second most visited theme park behind the Disney theme parks, Disneyland, Disney World in Florida. So he was doing it right. It was very quality, and it had a lot of similarities to Disney that we're going to get into today. I'm going to show you a few things that really stands out, that like the writing was on the wall. He wasn't trying to hide it. He wanted a Disney Christian theme park, and that's exactly what he got. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our tour, looking at some relics from the past, from the old Heritage USA. Right here, we're going to start it right here in South Charlotte at the Forest Church. Thank you for hanging out with me today, by the way. I really do appreciate it. So Forest Hill Church is now the namesake of this ministry center. And this right here used to be known as the Heritage House back in the late 70s, when Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker was running PTL right on this property. Matter of fact, their studios is just right back there. And I'm going to take you back here, and we're going to take a quick look at the studios, and then we're going to make our way a little bit further south down into South Carolina in the Fort Mill area and take you to the old Heritage USA grounds. So as we walk back here to the backside where the old studio building is, I have to give a shout out to a guy by the name of Todd Venture. He actually has a video about this location, and Todd grew up not too far from here. He's a fellow YouTuber, and I've been a subscriber to his channel for quite a few years now. He likes a lot of the same stuff I do. Our content are a little bit different, but he likes a lot of old retro toys and collectibles and things like that, and I enjoy watching his videos from time to time. But yeah, he's the one that referenced this building. He grew up really close here. His dad was involved with the studio workings and things like that. And this is what it looks like today. And in his video, he said it looks almost identical. It is not changed at all. And supposedly there's a basement to this building. And he actually said, I think he said there was a swimming pool here in this facility. I don't know if it's still there or not. That was a long time ago. You're talking late 70s, early 80s, when Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker was walking right into these doors, making their way into the PTL Studios at that time. But this is where it all began. Right there, look at that steeple. That's beautiful. Really nice area out here too. They really take care of these grounds. And this here is on the right here is the Heritage House, or the old Heritage House. Okay, pretty daggone awesome. All right, my friends, that will wrap it up right here. I just want to come over here and just show you where it all began. PTL right here, Jim, Tammy Faye Bakker. This is where they used to run all their early going telethons, raising that money for the church and for themselves. but this was the seed that was planted to build Heritage USA, and that's why this was a kind of a significant stop today. So for you, this is going to be quick, instantaneously even. I'm gonna make my way over to the old Heritage area now and see if we can go find where the location is for the old Heritage sign. My mom helped me out with that one. She had some old photos, so let's head on over there and check that out now. All right, now I've made my way over here to Heritage Boulevard, and this is where I had to get a little bit of help from my mom about this location. Normally when I come down here, I go through Regency Boulevard or Regency Parkway, whatever it's called. And this area is known as Regent Park, as you see on this sign here. But there's a famous picture, or a few famous pictures actually, of the old Heritage USA signage. And it's actually right here in front of these trees. This is actually the location. And I even think when I was talking to my mother, she remembers the sign when we used to come for Christmas. And it's very vague for me. She had pictures of it, and it had lights on it. It said like Christmas City or something other. And it was actually this location right here is where the Heritage USA sign used to be. So that is pretty freaking awesome. Really, really cool stuff. Now we're gonna move a little bit further up through here. I'm gonna show you some other relics. I'm gonna show you the Welcome Center location because it's still here. So I was fixing to make my way up to the Welcome Center area, and my mom also said something about 3 flagpoles was here. And look what I just ran across, not too far from the entrance. Sure enough, right here is the 3 flagpoles. Now back then, the flagpoles I think had like Heritage USA on one pole, had the American flag in the middle, and the other flag where the South Carolina state flag is right now was probably the PTL flag. But here's another relic that is still here to this very day. And look at the rock work. I mean, you can tell that stuff was built in the mid-80s. Look at that. That is freaking cool. All right, you see that white car coming right there? That's the way I drove in. And you have this little like pit stop area right here, right? This here actually leads you to the next building that we're going to look at. But in this day and time, this is called the World Outreach Center. And notice the rock work right down here. It looks very reminiscent. It looks very similar to the flagpoles that was seen earlier. So it gives you a good idea that this stuff is all original. And as we go around this berm right here, this is the Welcome Center for Heritage USA back in the day. This is where you would go and pick up your guide maps and get some literature and things of that nature. And notice the shape of the building. It's got that very pyramid-like look to it. It's very similar to their home offices here, where Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker's offices are located here on the property. They have a much larger version of this, and I'm going to show you that here shortly. We'll go over there and check it out, but that there is indeed the Welcome Center. It looks like the wind is picking up, ladies and gentlemen, but I have made my way over here to this pyramid-shaped building. We just left one pyramid-shaped building, the Welcome Center, and we came over here to this. This is called the Regent Building today, but it was formerly known as the PTL World Outreach Center at Heritage USA. And it is said that both Jim and Tammy Faye both had offices here. This is kind of how they ran PTL, probably, you know, fan mail and any kind of donations and stuff possibly came through this building right here due to the mail and stuff like that. So everything was kind of run out of this building. Obviously, when you think of running the show, you think of the PTL show, but that was not going on at this building. That was actually at the barn, which we will go check out the barn here in a little bit. But now let's go ahead and make our way over to the old Heritage USA water park area and kind of browse around over there and see if we can see any relics from the past. All right, I have made it to the belly of the beast. Morning Star Ministries actually, run this area now. But this is formerly Heritage USA. And this is like all the original stuff that you're seeing here that was here back in the day. This bridge right here that kind of goes along, it's not a bridge no more. It kind of ends right there in the middle of the water. This used to take you over to where you see these rocks right here. And these rocks are not real rocks at all. This is all theming. And this is what he did, that Jim Bakker and that whole group that built this. This They really did a phenomenal job. They spared no expense to make it themed very well, because the whole point of this peninsula, it looked like an island, and they had the rocks and stuff all around it. They had a big mountain on it that had this water slide. You know, that was like the focal point of the entire water park. And now it's all these houses. You know, you just got a bunch of, like, you know, condos or houses over there now. Townhomes, maybe. Pretty wild to just see the transformation over the years. And this place sat dormant for years with the theme park actually still intact. It was just decaying and rotting, you know, and that was clear up into probably the early to mid 2000s. It was still here. I think these houses right here were built in probably the last 10 or 15 years, give or take. I've not been there that long, but used to be a gazebo right here. When the bridge would take you over to the island, there was a gazebo right there. That's where you would buy your tickets for the water park. And right here beneath the bridge that would take you over to the water park, look at these old chairs under here. I wonder if that's original. I wonder if that's from the Heritage USA days right there. They look pretty bad shape. They look old. Pretty fascinating. Another cool thing that kind of lines up with, you know, Walt Disney World or Disneyland is they built a train here. And there's actually a really famous photo of Jim Bakker and Tammy Faye Bakker on the train. And there is some remnants of the train track here. If you look right ahead, that little bridge, that little trestle, that's where the train used to come across. And it went all the way around this lake. As a matter of fact, this walking path that they have here pretty much follows the line of way the train would go. It would actually go clear around this Heritage Lake right here. So there's one cool photo that I found online, and it must have been taken maybe right over there where the gazebo used to be. Walk down here to the water's edge. But in the photo, you can see the castle that they had here at Heritage. That's right, they had a castle just like Disney World. It wasn't exactly like Disney World, it wasn't that epic, but you see those 4 domes on the top of that building right there? Just to the right of that in the photo, there was a castle that sat right over there on that little flattened out area, that little plateau. And it's pretty epic because, you know, you have a reflection of the castle and those domes in the water, which you couldn't have got that you know, picture from this location. But just the same, I just want to kind of call that out. Thought that was really cool. And right here along this pathway is where the railroad track used to choo-choo along. And look at this, man. You still can see the gravel on the ground from the railroad. So that's another thing that Jim Bakker must have admired by Walt Disney. He was a big fan of trains. If you go to Walt Disney World or Walt Disneyland, you have a train that can take you around the Magic Kingdom. And if you come here to Heritage USA, which I rode on this train, that's what makes this so cool. When I was a child, I rode right down through there during the Christmas time. Christmas lights were everywhere. It was crazy. This was really Christmas City. I think that's what that was the coin. They kind of coined it Christmas City. I think that's what they named it back then. But yeah, you can see the gravel still to this day. Let's walk up here and check out the old trestle, which is now, as you see somebody walking across it, just a walking path now, but let's kind of walk up there. And then we're going to walk a little deeper back and go check out where the castle used to sit. All right, and right here is where the train used to go across. You know, they still have the old, like the wood pylons that would hold the track would actually rest on down through there. That is pretty cool. Really awesome history. Still here after all these years. All right, I've made my way over here to the opposite side of the Grand Ballroom. The Grand Ballroom is actually right here in front of us. That's what those bubbly things on the top of the ceiling is, or the roof. You can see the Heritage Tower right here, which never opened. It was like a timeshare type of a deal. A lot of people lost a lot of money buying these rooms. It was going to, you know, you could pay a certain amount of money and come a couple times a year to stay here at Heritage USA. Enjoy yourself in this big, beautiful, huge skyscraper of a tower. This tower actually sustained quite a bit of damage during Hurricane Hugo of 1989. But kind of at that time, it was almost a lost cause, because the whole scandal with Jim Bakker had already, been well underway by that point. The whole Jessica Hahn thing. Definitely check that out. Definitely watch the movie, Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye, if you've never seen it before. It gives you a lot of backstory to their lives, through her eyes anyway, of course. Great title. But this right here, nonetheless, is where the castle used to sit. And it's really not changed very much over the last few years since I was here last. It was maybe 3 years ago when I ventured out here to check this place out. But you can still see the tile floor. It's still here after all these years. Just think, this flooring was laid down in the 80s. And it's still here, being weathered, rained on, iced every now and then. Pretty wild to even think about that, really. But one thing I do want to share, a fun fact you may or may not know. Some people who read a lot about this stuff probably already know, or maybe they used this castle. When this castle was open, it actually had the world's largest Wendy's nestled inside, serving up Carolina classics and other various burgers, of course. But I just wanted to show you this, just in case you've never seen it before. This is definitely somewhat of a relic that's still here. I mean, I know there's no walls or ceiling or a big grand castle here, but we got to see some really cool looking old tile. It's like 40 years old. That's got to count for something. All right, let's head back up this way and see what else we can get into today. We still got a lot to see. This is just like the middle of this journey. We got some cool stuff to look at. All right, so now I made my way up here to the entrance to the Grand Hotel here at Heritage USA. And there was a really famous photo that was taken of Jim Bakker. And he could have been sitting like right about here in this location, right there where that bend is. I'm not for sure about that, but we can put a photo up and kind of line it up. And I think he was sitting about right here. You can see the train trestle off to his left in the background. You can see Heritage Island, the water park, right behind him, that monstrous water slide. But yeah, I think it was about right here in this area, somewhere right in here. He was just kind of leaning, resting on that railing, and you could see the water park right behind him. So we was right over there. I was showing you where Jim Bakker's famous photo was taken, and right here we have the Grand Hotel. And this right here, you see this like beige color wall, and you got these doors all the way down through there. So back in the Heritage USA days, this was looked a lot different. It actually had like a facade over top of it. And this was like a Main Street USA facade. Now the indoor area of this place still looks the same. It still has the same old school stores. If you've ever seen Walt Disney World or Walt Disneyland's Magic Kingdom and walk down Main Street USA, it looks very much like that. And the outside back then looked the same way, but they have removed all that kind of stuff, but they have kept the inside of this area intact. And they got a really cool place in there with like a lot of relics that they saved from the Heritage USA time period. All right, I have made it inside. It looks phenomenal. They got it decorated for the Christmas season. And this is the Main Street USA. Still here to this very day. Jim Bakker's brainchild at work. He was very much into that Disney-esque theme park for Christians, and man, did he do it. So these facades that you're looking at, that style used to be on the outside wall also, but they removed all that. This is so cool looking. Now, I don't know how true it is, but supposedly right here where this pink is, these two doors up here, that was possibly, somebody just told me this, but I think they said that was Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker's little suites up there. Don't know how true that is, but it's kind of cool. I'm going to throw that out there just in case if somebody knows for sure, or if they've ever heard that, they can chime in the comments. But yeah, this is so awesome. Beautiful. You got all these little storefronts, which none of these places are open at the moment, but check that out. Heritage Books. Right over here, you got the Victor Music Shop. Just epic. This is so cool looking. Right down here at the very end, we're going to make our way down there. I'm going to show you the train. They got this little train down there. Let you take all this in. And look right here. Main Street Little Theater. That is so cool. All right, and right here is the Main Street Trolley. There's some really nice Christmas trees down here in the area. Right around. It says Heritage Transit on the side of it. All right, there you go, Main Street Trolley. And check out this popcorn cart that they have right down here. Very Disney-esque stylage. Very, very cool. Man, this is so awesome. I mean, this place is so well kept. I mean, the colors and everything, how bright it is. This was just magnificent. All right, there's one last look at old Main Street here in Heritage USA area. Now I'm gonna walk down this little corridor right here. They have a lot of relics and artifacts that they have saved. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that sign up there. It says Main Street. But they have all kinds of PTL stuff nestled through here. See Jim Bakker right there. Jim and Tammy Faye together. Check out that old PTL Partner Center. That is pretty cool stuff right there. So awesome. Old Heritage USA. Heritage Village Church. Tammy Faye Bakker. PTL Family Devotion. Look at this old photo here of Tammy Faye. Like I said, if you've not seen the movie Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye Bakker, definitely you ought to go watch that. Check that out. Look at these old photos here. Oh, right there's the train. Yep. That is so cool. There they are with their construction hats on as everything's happening. And right here, that there is the upper room. And I'm going to take you there. That's a pretty cool place. It's still around to this very day. Right there is the Heritage USA sign that I showed you, at least where that was located earlier when we came in. That old Heritage shirt. Right there's a PTL Club mug. Wow. That is so cool. All right, now I have exited the old Main Street area. Show you some of the old relics and artifacts that they have in their little collection here. They used to have like a puppet in there that Jim Bakker used to use, a little blonde-headed puppet. I can't remember the name of that puppet, but they used to have it in there, like a package, like how you'd be bought in a store. Yeah, that's been removed. That's not there anymore. That's kind of odd. Did have a nice little conversation with a local, and we was talking about a lot of the history about this area, and he told me about the castle back there. And I said, yeah, that was going to be the world's largest Wendy's. He said, yeah, that never opened. Right when they arrested Jim Bakker, he said all around the same time, that castle was going to be open. It was going to be the world's largest Wendy's, and the first 10 floors of the Heritage Tower was going to open and be usable. He said if you could go in there today, you would see wallpaper, carpet, everything. Those first 10 floors were pretty much completed. And it was going to be able to, open and be used. And a lot of people was saying that Jim Bakker, one of the things he was getting in trouble for is because he was taking funds from people and not doing what he said he was going to be doing with them. But he's under the certain belief that that's not all the way true, because he was finishing up everything he was setting out to do. He thinks that it's a little bit of conspiracy type of a thing, that they went after him. He don't know who went after him, Don't know if it was Jerry Falwell or who it was. You know, he took over Heritage USA once Jim went to prison for 8 years. And I don't know, it has always been a very fishy thing. People in these communities are very split on if he was really as guilty as they said he was. I don't know. I don't know where I lay in that. That was a long time ago, and I was a kid, and I don't know, but a lot of people have their own beliefs, that's for sure. Okay, so now let's move on, see what else we can get into today. All right, off into the distance there, you can see the Heritage Tower in the Grand Hotel, just the rooftop of it. You see this this hill right here? I'm gonna put a picture up on the screen to show you what the old general store used to look like. And this was the Fort Heritage General Store. And then right here's what it looks like today. As you can see, the store has been removed. And this is what's left. It's just this pad. They got some cinder blocks out here. They got like a wheelchair accessible maybe area to get up on the porch of the general store. But this is where the general store used to sit. And the only thing that's left now is these cinder blocks. All right, and right here is an old picture from the 80s of Fort Heritage. This here was the entrance where you would go check in for your stay. And this is what it looks like today. You can see the hills on both sides. All the signage has been removed. All right, now I've made my way down here into the parking lot where we was looking at the signage. It said Fort Heritage. This here is the parking lot. And this is where if you was going to camp or something like that, this is where you would come to. Matter of fact, that building right there in the distance, we're going to take a closer look at that. That is like the check-in. That was the check-in area. It's not the check-in no more for the camping sites. But this right here was a restaurant, believe it or not. This here was called the Wagon Wheel Inn Restaurant. And look at the overhang. I mean, everything is pretty much here. Kind of just the same as it was. I mean, the signage is gone, but other than that, that is exactly where it was located. Everything looks pretty much the same. Okay, and right here is the old check-in cabin. You notice this is back in the 80s, and you know, it's got the wood siding on it, like a log cabin look to it. Notice the flagpole to the right, the American flag draped. And then today, look at it. Everything's the same for the most part, except now it has brick. And the flagpole is still in the same spot. And if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking this light pole right here is all original. Heritage USA days right there. And those over there too. Kind of make our way up here to the check-in location. Now, I was here a few years ago, and at that time, this was like a coffee shop. Because I actually went in there and bought myself a latte, which was very delicious. Let's kind of walk around here to the side and see if it was it just a brick facade they put on this building, or is all the wood gone? Let's check this out. Yeah, look. See, they got these cabins right here. They're kind of built similar. But this is what it used to look like. See that log fixtures? The walls are all logs. This is the way the front of it used to look also. And they didn't do this porch area. They only did the front of the building and the sides. Because these are brick, but that's what it used to look like right there. Even looks like the same shade, color, and everything. All right, I wanted to make a little pit stop real quick. So during the Heritage USA days, they used to have a tram system here where they would take you around. It's a very big property. And it would take you around to the different houses and lodging and camping sites and stuff like that, and then take you over to the actual theme park. And one of the original tram site pickup areas is this building right here. And this is the only one that I have seen. And now it's a propane station for the campers. This is it. This is where you would tram stop. If you've ever been to Walt Disney World, once again, very similar thing. And this is what it looked like at the tram stop, which I don't think it was this same color, but it is pretty cool. But this is one of the original ones from Heritage USA days. That is pretty awesome. All right, I have made my way over here. I just ran into my second security person asking me what I was doing. And I explained to them what I'm doing. They're all cool with it now and nice. And the lady I just spoke to, she told me something that is awesome. So me and my family used to come here during Christmas and look at the Christmas lights because they were epic. They were so freaking beautiful. She showed me something. She said, go look at the cedar trees. They never removed the lights from the cedar trees. And sure enough, now the cedar trees have been growing over the years, but look at that. That is Heritage USA Christmas lights still in these trees down here. What the heck? That is absolutely amazing. You can see them and all. So I remember this vividly. That was the one thing we loved about coming down here was the Christmas lights. But right there they are. That is the old school 1980s. They're all faded. And they just never removed them from the Christmas trees, from these old cedars. They was lined right down through here. And she was also telling me the trolley that we seen in the Main Street USA area, that was the trolley they used to use over here in this area. It actually was working and moving, and it would like take people on little tours. Right there it is. There's some more lights. I am so wild by this. This is unbelievable. But all that she told me, she said all the cedar trees has the lights in it. They're just draped everywhere. Look at them right here on the ground. This is why I wanted to make this video. This is what you're looking for. That is so freaking cool. Unbelievable. Look at all of them right here. All the ones down here on the ground, all the bulbs are missing or busted out or whatnot, but that is pretty cool. Man, look at all those lights up there. 40 years they've been sitting up there in that tree. All right, this next photo is called the Barn Auditorium at Heritage USA, home of the Heritage Village Church. As you can see right here in this picture, very iconic place. This is where the PTL club really bloomed. It was at its height, the Mecca. This is what it looks like today, by the way. Really still looks very similar to what it looked like back in the 80s. Structurally sound, same kind of roof pitch. Still looks like a barn. See why they call it the barn, but you know, little changes color, but other than that, it still looks the very same. But it's kind of cool that to start this video out, we showed where they started, and this is where they kind of graduated to once they got really up and going. Heritage USA was in full swing when they was here at the barn. All right, this is our last stop today. Our last thing to see is the upper room. And this was definitely a cornerstone piece to the Heritage USA history. And if you don't know what the upper room is, it's actually, this right here was a replica of the upper room that you can find in Jerusalem, Israel. And the story goes, what happened in the upper room in Jerusalem is where, you know, the Last Supper actually happened. I know many of you have probably seen the Last Supper painting before. So supposedly it happened in the upper room. So people of great faith, this structure right here, even though it's a replica, means a lot. And today this place is used for prayer and things like that. So it is not open at this time. It's open very rarely. I've been by here 3 times and every time it's been closed. All right, my friends, that will pretty much do it for me today here in the old Heritage USA area. Got to see a lot of cool relics today and vintage things from the past. And I got to say, I'm still pretty mind blown by seeing those Christmas lights up in those old cedar trees. That was really, really cool. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed making it. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe out there. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Stay tuned because there's always another video just right around the corner.